Hey guys, so I've had some requests to talk about shells because they're all over on the beaches right now. It's the cold season and that's when they wash up. I took a walk yesterday, picked some things up, thought we'd talk about them, get you a little base knowledge of shells, and then we'll add, every time something new starts washing up, I'll go out and take a walk and we'll add some new things to it. This is rope coral. Rope coral is one of my favorites because people think it's just a piece of string on the beach, but if you look real closely, you can see little holes here. Each one of those is an animal of its own, and they are connected on a solid surface here that kind of feels like wire. It's actually pretty strong and pokey. So I've got two pieces of rope coral here. They would attach into the soil like this and then grow up and catch. Remember, things that are this small start their life in the plankton realm, floating, and they'd catch some of those who would then begin building their homes, and that's how you get rope coral. Rope coral is the most common coral here in South Texas, in Corpus Christi on the beaches, but there are many other types of corals that occasionally wash up broken. The broken thing I have today are these, oops, that's the wrong side, these barnacles here, and these barnacles are from south of us. They have broken off and washed up with the current and come in. The barnacles we have here are not usually this big. The cool thing about barnacles is they also start their life in the plankton area, and they find a substrate that is hard enough to attach to, and they cement their head to the piece that they have found. Then they build their barnacle around them, and they feed with their feet. So their feet kind of look feathery and come out of that hole and then bring the food down to them, which is kind of cool. I'm putting these on this blue because this table's really dark, so excuse the label. I have a mangrove seed. Mangroves were not here in our area of the beach 50 years ago, but due to some warming waters that we've had over the last 50 years and tide changes and rises and things like that, we do have them fairly common in some estuaries here in the area. I have known people who have picked up a seed that's completely closed, it's not already sprouted and dried like this one. This one's like growing something on the outside of the sprout even. And put them in a cup of salt water and let them sprout up and grow until they had some sort of tuber at the bottom. They don't have roots like regular plants that we talk about because they live in salt water. They have these tubes that stick back up and look like straws where they get their rainwater, which is better for them to grow, and their nutrients. Anyway, mangrove tree, that's a cool one. And I have a little bitty piece of some sort of polychaete's worm home. So the worm would build this set of shells. You can kind of see the shells there around them, so they'd cement those around a tube and live inside of it. Polychaete means many teeth, so the way you tell polychaetes apart, or marine worms apart, is that you count the teeth in their throat. So you have to have a microscope, so we're just going to go with polychaete. I don't have any idea past that, nor would I without a microscope. I mean, I just don't do enough with them. So one of these is an oyster shell, this one here, so you can kind of tell. Oyster shells are not bivalves because they only build one shell and attach to a rock or something and grow, usually on top of other oysters. They're also, they can also change sexes, so if they land on a oyster reef where there are too many males, as they start to grow they'll become female, or vice versa, so they can kind of regulate their populations. This is most likely an operculum. I've never seen one quite like this, but I'm going to show you what an operculum is. So this is a shell off my shelf here, and an operculum would be the trap door that sits right here that keeps the snail safe and closes this whole area up. Obviously this one was much smaller than the shell I've got in my hand, but this is a way of protection for snails that live in mollusks. Alright, so this is a parwhelk, just so you know. Parwhelks are not our state shell. They have none of those little points on them. So hopefully hopefully some of those wash up soon. I haven't seen one in a very long time. Alright, moon snails, some of my favorites, also called a tiger's eye. This is a broken one, this is a whole one. So here's our whole back of a tiger's eye or a moon snail. This is the front. They are also a mollusk that is not a bivalve, but I did find one yesterday and one I picked up off my shelf so you could see, because this one's not whole. So from this one you can see the rotation. Let's see, I'm going to bring it up closer. You can see the rotation of how those swirls work inside the shell. I think that's kind of cool. And this one you can see the whole shell. Alright, now for the fun thing. Not really, but you asked, so that's what you're getting. Bivalves. I'm just going to bring this whole tray over here. Oh wait, I do have another mollusk. These are called baby's ears. Let me move the tray for a second. These are called baby's ears. So if you look at it, it looks like a little bitty ear. And it is a spiral shell as well with a very large opening. So that's another cool bivalve. This is actually my favorite shell, baby's ears. That's why I picked up so many of them, because I love them. So then let's talk about slipper shells. So this is a teeny tiny shell. So when you turn over a shell and it has a shelf inside, then it looks like a little house shoe slipper. They're called slipper shells. So this is one type. And this is another type. You'll notice that its slipper is much bigger here. And then I picked up this one because it's dark and I really like the color scheme on it. But it is also a slipper shell. So slipper shells are fun. Alright. Pin shells. Right now, February is the time to get a pin shell. I really love pin shells. They are very, very, very delicate though. So I've got a few here. I'm going to flip the light on and see if we can catch some color. Okay. There. So I'm not sure. Yeah, there you go. Can you see that? I don't know why it just took a picture for me, but it took a picture for me. How nice. You can see all the colors in a pin shell. I'll turn another one over so you can see the inside really well. And they are really iridescent and they're really, really brittle. So if you're going to collect these, make sure you have a separate bag or something to put them in. The LED light is not very helpful most of the time. So those are pin shells. They are bivalves. They are connected right here on the long side, and you can kind of see that they open like this. A bivalve is more like a clam, so it will open and close, bring things into its system, and eat that way. You'll see a lot of these on the beach. These are little bitty bivalves. So any other day I could tell you the name off the top of my head, but I just forgot. But again, the point is to talk about the bivalve. So you'll see where they're hooked together. If you turn them over, you can tell here that they're hinged together, where they're hinged together. And so these would be closed in the soil like this, and they pop up and down in the wave action in order to get their food. Gosh, what are they called? I don't remember. I'm going to set them aside because if the name pops to me, I will show you. So I've got a few scallops here of different sizes. Scallops are really cool. They come in a few colors. Just a few colors. And the thing that's cool about them is they will be black and white or red and white, but they will never be all red, all black, or all white. Or at least not that I've ever seen. And every place you see a scallop here, that's where an eye would be. And they have the most beautiful blue eyes. Now, I'm not sure if you can see here, but these are older world shells because they only have one place to hinge together right here. Oops, sorry, right here. So we've got this nice long piece that attaches with only one hinge holding it. So that is a scallop. These are called bay scallops because they live in our shallower bay waters. This is another old world shell because it only has one. These are disc clams. Here's another type of disc clam. Also single hinge right here. Right here. But on this side, you'll notice a hole. I'm going to close this. You'll notice a hole. That hole is where a different snail or predator drilled a hole, stuck its tongue called a radula down in there and slurped the clam out. So when you see a shell with a perfect hole like that, it is not that God made this so that you could wear it as a necklace, although you could. It is truly another animal eating it. So a cockle, it's a little bit hard to see, but it's got two attachments right here, and then here and here. So this is a New World shell. I like cockles because the lines this way are really ridgy, and then it's also it's also easy to see the lines this way. The lines this way are how it adds content to its shell, for lack of a better word, and grows. So these are like growth rings. You could count them and see how many seasons it has been through. Not necessarily, it'll be close to the age of it, but it may be off by a little bit. Here's a really nice single, this is called an umbro, single umbro here. And if you could feel this, it's got teeth along this edge. Not really, but it's serrated to help it grasp more. And again, it's got the really nice ridges this way, but it's not as easy to see the age of this one. And last but not least, somebody has been boring holes in this piece of shell, and I just thought it was cool, so I picked it up. So look at all those things. Those could be worms, those could be radula of animals. They don't go through, or very few of them go through, so it may have gotten eaten, but most of them had bad luck. They hit a shell that was already. So that is what I picked up yesterday. I hope that gives you a little bit of new stuff to look at. Put my tray here so it can go. Gives you a little bit of stuff to look at. Hopefully more fun things will start washing up. We are a little late. The really good wash up happens with the first big freeze of the winter time. When I use that word loosely. We are kind of at the end of our freezing time. In fact, the trees are saying it's spring. The wildflowers are starting to say it's spring. So hopefully we'll have to switch to things in the plant world for a little bit and then get back to shells later. But I will gather some more and do this again soon. And thanks for your time. We will talk later. Have a good day. Bye.